Hello, everyone. Wow, that is a terrible picture. What is going on with my... That is the weirdest thing. Hang on, everybody. There it goes. I don't know what that was up with that. That was the weirdest thing. Hello, Laura. Okay, let me see if I can get things all situated here. I was in the middle of the Census Bureau. Okay, let's see. Give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. I just put in my AirPod and I want to make sure it connected properly. And let's see if I can get Facebook up on my laptop here. Okay, did you give me a thumbs up? Can you hear me, Laura? Boop, hello. Hello, Cynthia. Okay, let's go here. And okay, let's see if we can find me. Oh, good. Thank you, Tracy, for letting me know that you can hear me. Okay, let me see if I can find myself now on Facebook so that I can see the comments without having to stand up and look in the camera. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, good. Getting there. And hello, great. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me since this guy showed up at 6:45. So let's talk about the Designer Series paper sale. I do not know what I did with my flyer from last week. I can't find it. A spur of the moment like this. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Got it. Yes. Oh, it's not in very good shape at this point. Just a reminder that there are certain Designer Series papers that are on sale for 15% off. That started today and goes through August 31st. In addition, it is also bonus days redeeming periods. So if you got any of the coupon, if you earned any of the coupons last month for purchasing $50 or more, be sure to use those. They're saying they're having some issues in other countries, not necessarily North America, but if there's any way that you can have your coupons used by the 30th of August, Stampin' Up! Would appreciate that. If you wait until August 31st to redeem it and you have any issues, please make sure that you're doing that before the close of business in Utah so that Stampin' Up! Can help you with that and you don't miss out. So bottom line, try to use by the 30th of August and then you won't have any issues at all. And make sure you get your Designer Series paper. Okay. So for tonight's projects, we're going to be using the Changing Leaves bundle from Stampin' Up. This is an online exclusive that came out, and I don't know why. Oh, here it is. I did grab it. I was going to say, but for some reason I didn't grab the embossing folder, but I did. This is a hybrid bundle, which means that you cannot purchase the embossing folder and dies separately. They are bundled together automatically, and that's the only way you can get these, but you can get them in a bundle with the Changing Leaves. Okay, so if you purchase it's called the embossing folder. So when you purchase the embossing folder, you're also going to get the dies, okay? If you purchase the bundle, you're going to get the stamps, embossing folder, and the dies, okay? I hope that makes sense, and I hope that I didn't completely butcher that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm not sure how prepped I am on the first project, so let's just go for it and we'll see what we need to pull and what we have together, because you know it's been a day, but we're going to get through this. Okay, so for this one we're going to start with a piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock. This is our card base, 5.5 by 8.5, and I have scored that in the center at 4.25. Okay, then we have a piece of the Lost Lagoon cardstock. This one is, I'm going to say 4 1/8, and I'd be correct, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I have already run this through the embossing folder, and I want you to see all the depth that you get from that. Okay, so that makes beautiful patterns. So we're going to do that, and we're going to go ahead and throw this on top of our card base because we don't have a ribbon treatment that we would need to wait on that. So we're just going to go ahead and do it. Now, you know, if you've watched me for any length of time, that when I'm using a 3D embossing folder, I prefer to use the Tombow mono adhesive liquid glue, or green glue as we all lovingly refer to it. And I'm going to just add this to my card base. And why I did it this way, I don't know, because that's not my normal way to do it. And let's see, I like to open it up so I can really see my edges. Okay, there we go. So we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and give that a little bit of a press. I'm not pressing too hard. I just want to kind of spread that glue out so that all my edges stay down. Okay, so we can go ahead and set this aside now. And we're going to do just a little bit of stamping. Some of it I've already done and cut, but apparently I didn't cut the largest piece. So let's get that done. Let's grab us a piece of basic white. I'm going to start with this one, and we're going to take the largest leaf, and I'm going to bring in a stamp positioning tool because this leaf is rather large. Okay, I thought I had that on live. Why is that? Okay, there we go. I'm tired of that. Okay. So I'm going to move this down. This is a very large stamp. I'm just going to stick it down here. And we're going to ink this up in Cajun Craze. And I'm doing this in the stamp positioner for 2 reasons. One, because I have a hard time holding on to the great big block. And this doesn't fit very well, even on the E-block. So it's just easier to do it on this for me. You could go to the great big huge block that we have, but I cannot hold on to those things. And so much so that I don't even know where my great big block is. I couldn't tell you. And because it's such a big stamp, I want to be able to re-stamp it if I didn't do a good job the first time. Okay, so that looks good. Let's go ahead and wipe this off real quick with a chamois cloth. Oh, I got that pretty wet, the chamois cloth. Okay. All right, so let's do that. We're not going to do anything with that at the moment. Let's get rid of this because we don't need it for the time being. Now, what I did was I also stamped this leaf in Rich Razzleberry, and I stamped this one in Crushed Curry. But I've already stamped these, cut them out, and finished that up, so I'm not going to go through that. But I am going to grab my inks, which I'm sharing. Where is my Crushed Curry? Or my Cajun Craze? Oh, it's right here because I just used it. Oh my goodness. You guys, I get rattled because things don't go the way they should, and then my brain leaves me. Does anybody have that trouble? Okay, so now I'm going to take my blending brush, and I took a little bit of the Cajun Craze ink, and I really didn't need that much. And I'm just going to take and roll this down till it's not real super thick, and then I'm going to very lightly put some ink on each of those leaves, just so that that is not white behind the stamped image. I wanted it to look full. So I'm very gently going in a circular motion. And yes, I'm going a little bit outside the lines, but it's okay. I'm trying not to go too far out. Okay, and I've done that with each of these two leaves in the Crushed Curry and the Rich Razzleberry. So I've stamped them in the like Blackberry Bliss, and then blended with Blackberry Bliss, stamped with Crushed Curry, and blended with Crushed Curry. Okay, so we've got this. This is looking a little bit light to me. I'm going to go back and put a little bit more in here. And I want just a little bit of depth here and there, so I've got some darker colors, not necessarily all the same. Okay, now I'll go ahead and I'll wipe this off. My glass mat comes with a chamois when you purchase it. This is an online exclusive available to everyone at this point while supplies last. Okay, so I've got that. I'll just give that a quick wipe with my studio towel. And then let's go ahead and cut this out. So I'm going to show you how I did this, because the stamps come individually, which is different from the rest of our hybrid embossing folders, because usually when you have a die that's connected with 3 in a hybrid embossing folder, the stamps are also connected so that it's easily lined up, but that is not the case with this one. So I'm just going to take and put this, before I do that, I'm going to trim out my cardstock so that it will, well, I guess it doesn't matter for this because I'm not running it through the embossing folder. Never mind. Let's just put this down, put a little bit of tape over it, and then I will grab the Big Boss. You need a bigger machine. This will not run through the mini. So I'm just going to tape that down and grab my machine. Okay, so we've got that. Let's bring in the Big Boss. And we're going to run this through. So I've got my base plate, I've got plate number 1, and I've got plate number 2. Plate 1, plate 2, which is the thin die adapter, cutting plate 3, and then paper die and cutting plate number 3 on top. And we're just going to run this through. Okay, now for this project, I would do that again with the Crushed Curry leaf and the Rich Razzleberry leaf, but I have already done that to save us some time. So let's pull this out, and this is what we have. Okay, We'll put that back on our die sheet. I'm going to set these out of the way. Okay, so now we have our pieces. Okay, so we've got the rich raspberry leaf, the crushed curry leaf. Then from these same dies, I have taken this set of leaves and this set of leaves, or this leaf right here. These are what I call bonus dies because they don't cut a stamped image and Stampin' Up! Has just thrown them in. So I've cut 2 of these and 2 of these. And I've cut those from the, you can tell I'm totally unprepared, you guys. I'm so sorry. Let me find that paper so I can tell you what it's called. It's the 3-color glimmer paper. This is also an online exclusive, and this is the Lost Lagoon. So it comes in Lost Lagoon. I think they call that Highland Heather. Kind of looks gorgeous grape to me. And then you get Petal Peak. Okay. So with glimmer papers, a little goes a long way. So I'm just using just a little bit on my card. And this is the kind of paper that the glitter does not rub off and go everywhere. Okay, so I've got a set of leaves here. And then I took the other set of leaves and I put them on my inside card, which I've stamped in Pretty Peacock with a little note to brighten your day. And that's from the Changing Leaves stamp set. And I put the other set down here so that I've got a nice inside piece. But let's go ahead and add this to our card front and get these going. And okay, so we're going to start with our largest leaf, and then I'm going to position these like so. Okay, and that's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of liquid glue, and I'm going to leave the majority of these leaves. I'm just going to put glue right in the center part here. I want to be able to tuck, and I want a little bit of movement. So I'm just barely putting any glue on, okay? So let's go ahead. We're going to put this like so. And I haven't even pressed that down. So I want to be able to move it if I need to. So I'm putting a little bit more glue just in the center. And I'm going to lay that like that. And again, I didn't press that down. A little bit more glue right here in the center. And then I'm going to put this down. And then I'll make a decision on if I'm happy with those. I think I might want to bring this down a titch. So let's move those. Make sure that you keep your leaves inside the bounds of your card. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and give those a press right there in the center parts. And then I'm going to take this leaf and I'm actually going to cut this apart. Okay. Just going to cut that right there like that. And then I'm going to take this. Nope, I'm not going to use this one, I don't think. I think I'm going to put this one in here. Just peeking out. I want just a little bit of color here. And this is exactly why I left this open. And I'm going to go like that. So what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to take a glue dot. I'll pull that out, stick that on there, and then just going to lift that up and get it in here where I can tuck it in where I like it. Okay, making sure that I stay within the confines of my card. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to give that a press on the glue dot. And then I'm going to take this one and take another glue dot. And I'm not fighting this. I'm just going to use my take your pick tool to lift that up, because why do I need to fight it? I don't, right? Let's use our tools. That's what they're for. Okay, I want to give this a little bit more of an angle here, I think. Like that. Okay, now let's see. Do I really want to put this one in? Because I might. Yep, I think I'm going to add this one. So let's take, and actually, I'm gonna go ahead and cut that part off, just so I can get that further into the layout here. And then I'm gonna put this up in here, like, oh, get back there. So, okay, so those are in now. Got that. Now, is that gonna stay? Yeah, I guess it is gonna stay within the confines. Okay, so now we need a sentiment. So we're going to grab a piece of Pretty Peacock, and okay. Wow, I didn't grab that either. Okay, here we go. We're good. We've got a lot of scraps of Pretty Peacock we can use here. And I really only need this small little piece here. So we are going to take this, and we're going to grab the stamp positioner tool again, because we're going to do a little bit of embossing. Okay, so let's grab our embossing powder. On our embossing additions toolkit, I'm going to start with a embossing buddy, just to get the static off of that. Okay, and then we're going to get the Pretty Peacock ink. Okay, and I'm going to take the sentiment, you are amazing in every single way, which I guess I did get out already. Okay, and I'm just going to put this in here, and I'm going to cut this out with a die, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do need to be able to emboss. So we're going to start with Pretty Peacock ink. Okay. And I'm going to do that twice. And then apparently I'm going to stick my finger in the ink, because that's the kind of night we're having. And that's fine. This is real crafting, people. Okay, so now I've got that, and I can close up my pretty peacock, and I'm going to clean that off. Okay, the chamois. Oh, my chamois, apparently I got pretty wet. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to give that a pat to dry it. And then we're going to take the clear embossing powder. Not copper. Let's get clear. Hang on, let me find. I had the copper out for the next project and not the clear. So we need that. Okay, so we're going to ink this up with Versamark. Hey, Mr. Cruz. Hello, Jennifer. So glad you could join us. Okay, so we're going to stamp this down. Okay, and this is why the stamp positioning tool is so important for this, because I needed to keep stamping in the same exact position. Okay, so let's set that aside and let's bring in our toolkit here. And we are going to put not copper, but clear. Right over our sentiment. Okay, so we've got that. With clear, it's not so important that you get everything off. When we go to the copper on our next card, of course, it will be important. But at this point, I am not going to worry about it because it really isn't that big of a deal. So now I'm going to take my reverse tweezers. These have a Teflon top on them. We'll pinch your thingies so that your fingers don't get hot. These are the highest quality tweezers I've ever owned. I tell you what, they're sturdy. They're wonderful for this. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, so that goes from kind of whitish. And now this is what we have for our sentiment. Okay, so we've got that. We're going to bring our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss in this time. If I can figure out what I did with my plates, because they're not where they're supposed to be. Oh my goodness. Wow. How unorganized am I today? I don't actually have any idea where my mini plates are. They are completely not where they belong. And I don't see them. So we're not going to stress about it. We are going to use the Big Boss because it'll work. The mini fits better into the picture, but we're going to make this work. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to take this cool little stamp. Die. There's 3 of these for sentiments or what have you. And I'm going to use this one. And this was not the size I wanted, so I'm going to do what I always do when it's not the size that I want. I am going to make it the size I want. So we're going to start by lining that up. Okay. You know that's going to bug me that I can't find those plates. That doesn't make any sense. I just unpacked them from the crop on Saturday. Okay. So let's grab, we're going to put this in with the part that we want to not alter first. Okay. Then I'm going to take my top plate and I'm going to bring that down most of the way. And then I'm going to run that through. Okay. And then I'm going to push this back out. And I'm going to hope that I can do this without removing that machine and still do it where you can see. Okay, and then because this has all these grooves, I'm going to try to set this back down in those grooves. And then run it. This one's a little bit, oh, there it goes. It slid right in. There we go. Let's move it back. There are some little stitching lines, so it does get a little bit trickier than if you don't have those stitching lines, but you will feel it grip. Okay, so I'm going to mark that. I'm going to tape that down again so it doesn't move. Maybe one day we'll have a magnetic plate and we won't have to do that. It would be so sweet. All right, and then I'm going to run that back through the end that I want to cut, not the end that I've already cut. That goes in with the plate only to the point where I want the cut to stop. And when you hear that clunk, it has stopped cutting. And we are going to pull this out and move the machine and get rid of these for the moment. And then we'll pull this off and we will have a perfectly cut, lined up sentiment. Okay? Now, if your die does this, when that happens, gently put your fingers in the middle with your thumbs on the end. Give it a very soft little press in the center, and that will straighten that right back out. Okay? Super simple. All right, now we have our sentiment, and we're going to add this to our card. And we're going to do that up here like so. We're going to cover up those stems so you don't even know they're there. Okay. And then we're going to take some of the pretty peacock ribbon here in a minute. Let's go ahead and grab a couple of dimensionals. And add these to the back of our sentiment. And go ahead and put this on how we would like it. Okay. Now, the pretty peacock, what is this called? Pretty peacock and gold ribbon, it's metallic, comes this wide. I did not want a ribbon this wide. So what I've done is I've cut it in half, and I'm not going to lie, this, you have to be kind of careful with it because it does shred, okay? But that also is part of its charm. So what I do when I am cutting my ribbons in half, I decide how big my bow is going to be. So I would actually make my bow in my hand. In this case, I'm going to use the bow jig because I'm tying a double bow. And I can't do that on my own. So what I do is I take the length of the ribbon before I cut it, and I put it around, and I guesstimate how much I need, and then I cut it. Okay? Ordinarily, I like to tie off the roll, but in this case, you cannot. So then I'm going to take the half that I have left over, and I'm going to wrap that around twice. And then I'm going to carefully tie this so that I don't fray it too much. And that is not the size I want. This is actually quite a bit smaller than I want. I might have to recut this. This might fall apart on me when I redo it. Okay. Whoops. Okay, well, let's just cut it. That's not doing what I want it to do, and it's not going to look like what I want it to look like anyway. Okay, so I'm going to take this and let me go one more because that's where I want it to be. And I'm going to grab my ribbon and guesstimate what I need. Oh my goodness. And cut this. Okay. And then I will take this and I'm going to lay that out. And I'm just going to give it a quick cut. I like to hold and keep moving my fingers and kind of stretch it out. It makes it easier to cut when you do that, or at least that's my experience. I hold next to the scissor bottom and then move my fingers up and keep stretching that taut, or mostly taut. And then when I get to the end, there we go. Okay. Now I've got two pieces that I can use on another project. So I'm going to take this one, make sure my ribbon stays flat. This is wider, so that's what I like. Okay, now these pieces are going to come out, so be careful. The thing that I like about it is when those pieces come out, you get this gold at the top, which is what I really liked about this ribbon when I cut it. You get the little gold fiber. Okay, so now I've got that. I'll take and pull just a few of these little pieces out here. Okay, and then got fiber everywhere. Then I'm going to take my glue dot and the second glue dot, and I'm going to press this in right here. Actually, yep, pull out because I need it to go down with my tails down. I want my tails hanging down. Okay. All right, and then I will trim these ends and try not to touch that ribbon too much so it doesn't fray anymore. And there is our card. Now, let's go ahead and add our gems to this, because look, I'm going to remember those. Getting better. I've got the Petal Pink and Pretty Peacock foiled gems. And so I'm going to take the Pretty Peacock gems and I'm going to go one up here. That's a little one. I'm going to take another small one here. And then I'm going to take a large one. And I'm going to put it here. Okay, so I've got a triangle. I'm going to give these a press. And I'm going to take the inside piece of my card now, which says a little note to brighten your day. And I messed up on the back. Shh, don't tell anyone. It wasn't quite as straight as I would like. So I did end up putting it in my stamp positioning tool. Okay, so there's our card. And for the envelope, I took and stamped that smaller open leaf in the Cajun Craze and did the same ink blending technique so that my stationaries match. Okay, I hope you love that card. Thank you guys so much. Hi, Lynette. Thanks for watching. Oh. Yes, I am keeping it real, Tracy, for sure tonight. That's okay. So let's move on to project number 2. Let's set this one aside. I'm way more prepared for project number 2, I think. Okay. We're going to need that Cajun Craze ink again, though. And we're still going to be embossing. So, you know what? Before I even get that out of the way, let's go ahead and emboss our sentiment. So we're going to start for the embossing on the sentiment. I'm going to take a deckled rectangle, a deckled circle die. Where did I put those deckled circles? I thought they were in this box. Yeah, I laid them out already. Okay. So for this one, I'm using 2 deckled rectangle or circles. So this one for my sentiment piece is the 3rd smallest. And then I've got a piece of Cajun Craze with the 4th smallest. Okay, so that is this one right here. Then I also use the deckled rectangles, and I'm using the 2 largest. So I've cut the largest in crushed curry, and I've cut the smallest in basic white, or not the smallest, the 2nd largest in basic white. And of course, I've already pre-done that. And while I was at it, I ran that white one. So cut it first with your deckled rectangle, and then I ran it through the Changing Leaves embossing folder again. Okay, so we've got that. But right now we're going to do our embossing because we already have everything right here, and we might as well get that done. So for this one, we are just going to take our Versamark ink, and I'm pulling in a sentiment from the Autumn Leaves stamp set, which was in last year's catalog, and it's carried over. So I've got Autumn Leaves, and I'm using this. Autumn teaches us that change can be beautiful. I love that sentiment. It's one of my favorites. So we're going to take that sentiment and we're going to put it on our Old Olive deckled circle here. Ooh. Before we do that, I know one of you is screaming at me, embossing buddy, embossing buddy. Okay, so we've got that done. Let's do this correctly so I don't have it so hard. And then I'm just going to stamp this mostly in the center. I'm not going to press too hard. I just want that ink to soak in, but I don't want to distort my little tiny stamp image there because that the sentiment in the center is very tiny. Okay, so for this one, we're going to take the Wow metallic copper, and we're going to emboss this in copper. Okay. All right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's set this completely out of the way so I can't have a disaster. And then we'll heat our tool up again. This one should be a little bit faster because our tool is semi-heated. And I'm going to heat from the bottom because that's what I like to start with. Get it started and then finish on the top. And that is going to get all beautifully shiny. And as soon as it's all shiny, I can be finished and find the off button. Okay, so that all looks great. Now we can set that aside because we are going to do some more ink blending. This time our color palette is Crushed Curry, Old Olive, and Cherry Cobbler. And Cajun Craze. Okay. So let's get our blending brushes, which are right in front of my face. Okay, so this is what we have. Let's get these moved out of the way. So we've got a little more workspace, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and move everything so it doesn't get inky. Put a little bit of Cajun Craze, a little bit of crushed curry, old olive. This is the beauty of the glass mat, you guys. I love this so much. This technique, it just makes ink blending so much nicer. Okay, so we're going to take our embossed white piece, and I'm going to start with the old olive, and we'll put a little bit of green here and there. There is no wrong way to do this, and I don't have any rhyme or reason to it. I'm just throwing down some color. Okay, and then let's see, let's go to the Cajun Craze, a little bit of that. Yes, I am mixing my colors right on my leaf. Okay, let's hang off on that. Let's go with our yellow, which is crushed curry. Put a little bit of crushed curry here and there. And mix in with our leaves. Okay, and then we want to put some cherry cobbler in there. Okay. Now let's look and see if we think we need anything more. I think I could use a little bit more Cajun Craze here. So let's go in and just, this doesn't look like it has a bunch of color there. And I've got a little leaf there. Okay, and then let's go back with a little bit of yellow crushed curry and just do that. Okay, so now I'm happy with that. No two of these are going to be the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and wipe that ink off our mat. The surface cleans up so nicely and quickly. Okay, so now we've got this piece, right? And we have a card base in Cajun Craze, so let's go ahead and fold that up. This is a standard A2 5.5 by 8.5. Give that a crease with our bone folder. We're going to bring in that largest of the deckled rectangle that I did in crushed curry, and we're going to add this to our card base. And this is just going to go down flat. Let's open this up so I can see all four sides easily. Center that up as best we can. Okay, and then we're going to add this piece, and because this is a 3D, I'm going to use some liquid glue on here. Okay. Whoa. Lucky me, that did not land the wrong side up. Okay, now you can do this however you want. I think I'm going to do this way. Pick how you like it and put it on down. Okay. And then again, I'm going to lay this over Give that a gentle press with my bone folder to spread out that glue. Okay, now we're going to take our Cajun Craze leaf here, and let's see, where did I actually put a spotty stamp on here, and let's see, where did I get that spotty stamp? I don't know, I didn't pull it out, I forgot. Hang on, let's see. You can skip the spots if you like, or add them if you prefer. I'm going to leave them, oh, layering leaves, that's where I got those. The spotty stamp from layering leaves. Okay, so I'm just going to take this and throw this on this block right here that I have. Take the Cajun Craze ink. I'm going to grab a scrap paper here real fast. And I'm just going to really do just the outsides because I'm going to have stuff on the inside and it isn't going to matter. So you can skip that part if you like. But look through your stamps and see what you have that has spotty dots in it. Excuse me. Anything will work. I'm glad you like that autumn sentiment, Tracy. It's my favorite, my very favorite autumn sentiment. Okay, so I've got this. Now, it's time to stamp our leaf. So we're going to take this leaf here, and I've got just a little piece of basic white, and I'm going to take the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this down. Like so. Okay, and then what I've done with this, what did I do with, oh, here it is. Okay, so I have these 4 Stampin' Blends. Okay, dark cherry, light wild wheat, dark Cajun Craze, and a light old olive. Put them in the order, whatever order you would like. Okay, and then what I did, I'm not going to color this whole thing because I've already got it done, is I took my first color and I just colored the first layer of leaves here. And then I did not put these on tight. I'm just setting them down because I'm going to keep using them. So then I'm going to go to my next color. And I'm going to color that in. And I'm just going to keep going. Now, this is not a symmetrical image. So you're going to have to make choices on whether you want to put 2 together or not. And just keep going like this. With your blends until your entire image is colored. Okay? Again, no right or wrong. Use your creativity. Here's one of those things where you need to make a decision. Do I do this green and this green and this green, or do I skip this and go to this? If I do this, I've got, really 2 together. But you make your own choice. You decide how you want to do it. I think the way I did the one that we're going to use on our card is different than this. Maybe not. But then I would just keep going back in the order: cherry cobbler, wild wheat, Cajun Craze, old olive, until I get that all completed. Then I would die cut it with that one large die like I showed you before. Okay, but I've already completed that to save us some time. Okay, So here is my finished leaf. And then I also cut, I used the oxidized copper, which I don't know if you guys even remember that that is a product that we have. This is the oxidized copper paper. You get 2 sheets of the copper and 2 sheets of the pretty peacock in copper. So 4 sheets total. And I took this smaller leaf right here, this 3, and I cut 2 of those. Okay. And then with this extra die, I cut one of those in white. Okay, so I've got the basic white. So let's go ahead and get this started. And really, if you're going to do this first. I should have, but I didn't because I already have one done, so I didn't have to worry about it. And I wasn't ready on time. So I'm going to take my light old olive blend. I'm going to take the brush tip. And I'm just going to color this. Now, I could use, if you don't want to do this step, you can just use old olive cardstock and cut this. I wanted mine to be a little bit lighter than the old olive cardstock. So I'm doing it this way. And then I'll just go back in some sections and add a little bit of extra color so I have a little bit of extra depth. Okay. So that is colored. All right. So now we are going to take the Metallic Enamel Effects Basics. Okay. So this comes in a pack of 3. Okay. So you get a pack of 3. Comes like this. You get silver, gold, and copper. There is another pack available, pearlized enamel effects, where you get white, red, real red, and black. Okay. We're using the copper today. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to take and get this going over here. And then I'm just going to take and dab that on the tip of each of these little sections at the top, because it looks like there should be a little berry or something up there. So just set it down and lift it straight up and then move that so that that doesn't glue down. Okay. Then set this somewhere very far away so you don't put anything in it. Okay. And then when you let it dry for about 10 or 15 minutes, you'll have this. So I pre-did some. This is the light old olive. This is the old olive cardstock. And with this one, oops, that kind of stuck. So let me get it off the paper. And this one is dark old olive blend. Okay, so you can see the 3 different ones that you get when you use the dark blend, the light blend, and the old olive cardstock. Okay, so these I did last night and they're all dried and ready to go. Okay, so we really only need 1. So that is ready. So we can start putting our card together. All right. So the first thing I did with this, I'm going to cut this little leaf off of this one. And I will save this for another project. Okay. We're going to put this about right here. This leaf is going to go up here somewhere like that. Then we're going to take our sentiment piece and we're going to stick this in here. It's going to go underneath. So I'm going to lay this out and then I will adhere it all together. I'm going to put this down in here like so. Now, I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to cut this into two. Okay, so I'm going to cut this piece here right at this base. Okay, like that. So I've got this smaller piece and then I've got this bigger piece. And I'm going to stick this in here like so. And then I'm going to bring this copper piece in here. And do that like that. And then we'll take this piece. I'm going to trim this up just a little bit more so that I don't have that jut there. I'll just trim it to round. And now you can't even really tell that I took that piece out if you didn't know. I'm going to trim this off because I don't need that much on the end. Don't be afraid to alter your die cuts to fit your needs. Okay, and so that is about what I want. Okay, so I'm going to disassemble one piece at a time. I'm going to glue this leaf here on with Stampin' Seal. About like that. And then this is going to get added to our project with Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to keep my Stampin' Dimensionals in the center so that I can add those other pieces in easily. Okay, so we're going to stick this in about right here. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this piece out. This is going to go on flat, but again, I'm only going to put my adhesive in the center. I'm going to slide this back in here, like so, making sure that my sentiment is straight or mostly straight. Okay. Then I'm going to make these two pieces one. So I'm going to add a glue dot here. And I'm going to squish that glue dot up. Okay. And then I'm going to add these two pieces together. And I'm going to take a second glue dot. And again, I'm going to kind of squish that together. And then I'm going to tuck this in here. Like so. Okay. I'll pull that out just a bit. It's not cooperating quite how I want it to go. Okay, so more like that. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. No, I'm not, because I like the way that's sticking just like that. So I'm going to put a glue dot here. And now it's come apart. Okay. Put that over there. Let's get this one. Put a glue dot on it. Pinch that together. And what that does by pinching that is really roll that glue dot around that stem. And I'm going to stick this in here like so. And hang on, I want to get this under here a bit. So I'm going to kind of lift that up and get that in like that. Okay, that way I've got all three leaves or a partial of all three leaves showing. And then I'm going to add this. Okay, I'll just stick this down in here, kind of like that. All right. Oh, good night, Cynthia. Sorry that you're having internet issues. Okay, so we've got this. Now we are going to take and add a couple more things to this. So we have the polka dot trim. This is in the online store. And I have taken and cut a section of this. Okay. Because we're going to, this is too thick for this is too thick and too stiff for my liking. So I've cut the edge off of this already. And I'm going to grab a strand or two of this and pull that apart. Okay. So I'm going to leave that like that. And then we're going to bring back in that bow jig. We're going for a smaller bow this time. And we're going to do a double bow and tie this up. Okay. And then we'll trim that off. And then we'll take a glue dot and add this to our card. Let's get our tweezers. Scrunch that glue dot up. I'm going to put this at the base of our leaf here. Okay. Like so. And then we're going to bring in, this is a sneak peek, the Earth Tones Shimmer Gems. This is going to be released next month to the public in the September to December mini catalog. Demonstrators were able to order from that today. And the colors on these Earth Tone Shimmer Gems are Copper Clay, Very Vanilla, Crumb Cake, and Garden Green. Just so you know, they're extremely flat. They're not going to add extra postage. And I'm going to take the crumb cake ones because they kind of match my ribbon trim here. And let's put a large one up here and a small one. Put that right there. And then I'm going to take another large one. And I'm going to put that down here. Okay. So it kind of emphasizes the whole focal image here. Okay. So that is the card. Now let's see. I thought I had an inside piece done, but apparently not. Oh, because I was going to do, well, let's take one of these pieces here. Let's see what I did on my sample card for the inside. Oh, I took those gold distressed leaves. So this one, I'm going to take a piece of, I'll find that inside envelope after I get off of here. You know I will. I was pretty sure I had it, but maybe not. Or the inside. Okay. So I did not put a sentiment on this one either. I'm going to take this. Let's see what else we have for leaves here, because this is kind of lonely. I'm sure I've got something already stamped in here. Oh, I have some of those copper leaves. I've got one of those copper leaves. Let's do this. And maybe this. Let's just see what we want to do here. I'm going to do this. Like this and do that. I like it. Okay, so this will be the inside of our card. Let's see, do we want to put this one down? Yep, I want to put this one down first. And I'm going to bend that glue dot backwards so it doesn't show. And I don't want all of that stem, so I'm just going to put that down there like that. And then I'll cut off the stem that I don't want. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to take it down there a little bit further so it doesn't stick up so much. We can still stamp an image later if we want to, a sentiment, or we can just do a handwritten sentiment. So we've got that. Turn that over, and I'll snip that off there in the corner, and we'll add this to our card, and then we will be complete. Okay. So here we go. Got that for our inside. That feels like it might be just a bit tacky. So I'm going to take and tuck this. Use my take your pick tool and tuck that in there. And that way it won't feel tacky anymore. Take your pick tool is good for a lot of things. Just take that pointy tool and stick that glue dot right down underneath where you can no longer feel it. All right. Okay, so there's our card. And I took for the envelope, I took that large leaf in Cajun Craze. And there's our envelope. Okay, so let's bring back in that other project. And these are the cards for tonight. So let's get rid of those envelopes. And there we are. I hope you like those projects tonight. I don't know how you missed those gems on the pre-order, Tracy. Oh, you might not have looked in the nested birds section. I don't know. Well, got bonus coupons to use. Put those on your list. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for letting me be late and hanging in there with me. I appreciate you. And I will see those of you who are joining me Thursday night on YouTube there. And if not, I'll see you again Tuesday night at 7 here. Oh, no. Nope. Next week, I will not be on Tuesday night because I will be vacationing with my family. All right. So no Tuesday night live planned for next week. And I will see you Thursday. And if not, have a good week, everybody. Good night.